We're continuing to follow the situation with Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, which was a scheduled passenger flight leaving from Kuala Lumpur, scheduled to go to Beijing, China. On March 8th, the Boeing 777 was being tracked by radar. It was on the map, so to speak, and then suddenly disappeared with 227 passengers, 15 different nationalities, 12 crew members on board after its last contact with air traffic controllers. So much has happened in the last 24 hours. Chinese officials released some satellite images suggesting a possible location for the disappeared plane. Ultimately, though, the China State Administration said that, the China State Administration said we have some suspected floating objects in water. This is at coordinates 105.63 east. And it turns out that they are not remnants of the plane. The BBC reported that China put up several high-resolution satellites to aid in the search. And there has been conflicting information. There was this report that maybe we found something, but it seems we haven't. And search planes were actually sent out today to examine the area, and they found absolutely nothing. So that was a kind of false start in the possible explanation. Then U.S. investigators suspected that Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 stayed in the air for about 4 hours past the time that it reached its last confirmed location, at which point communication was lost. According to two people familiar with the details, this would suggest that the plane could have flown hundreds or even over 1,000 miles from the point at which contact was lost, which would completely upend the entire search area, if you consider that. However, Malaysia's transportation minister said, no. We have no evidence at all that the plane flew for hours after contact was lost. So there we have conflict as well. And one aviation industry observer says he's skeptical about that. Tom Ballantyne, who's a chief correspondent for the magazine Orient Aviation, told CNN, I find this very, very difficult to believe that this aircraft could have flown for 4 hours after it disappeared and not be picked up by someone's radar. This is a really crazy situation. As we talked about yesterday, this was far more common when we had piston-powered aircraft with very rudimentary communication equipment back in the 40s and 50s. But for a Boeing 777, which, by the way, would be flown by very experienced pilots, to simply disappear and not be found now going on to 5-6 days is very, very unusual. And when you turn on corporate media, there's actually a lot of confusion on the faces of people. I was watching CNN. There's a TV in the lobby of our building, and CNN was on, and there were two anchors and a so-called aviation expert, and they all seemed really confused and just not even really sure what to say. This is a very strange situation.
Yeah, and of course, each day that goes by, I mean, is the chances of there being any survivors are just get worse. I can't imagine there are at this point, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that with all the technology on these things, that there isn't some sort of beacon, some sort of signal, some sort of way to determine where it went and where it went down.
Right. We know that when black boxes are found, you're able to take a lot of data about what happened from the black box, but certainly it would seem logical that there would be some kind of a beacon that would allow you to hone in on exactly where that is. We'll continue following it. I don't know ultimately what the results will be, but this is a very, very odd situation. Subscribe to our channel, new videos every day. Forget about boring corporate media. Click below to subscribe.